Hey, folks, welcome. For those that are new, what we do here is we go over the symbols that you want. It's open mic night for members. So this is your time, and whatever you want me to discuss or go over, I'm here for you. So while I'm waiting for people to enter and enter their symbols into the chat box or questions, what have you, I'm going to just continue to watch the after hours action here. And I'm watching in particular this Intel trade that's setting up. I frankly think we may get one last push higher here. And the reason why I think that is that you look at how steady we're holding in here. Not giving up any gains. We did here a little bit, holding strong, and very light volume. It's like they repriced it. So I was tempted to go shorting prior to going live here, but I decided against it. And I'll wait to see how we open up tomorrow morning. My guess is that we'll probably push, probably even higher than what the high was after hours today. And we'll look to short. Hey, Barun, how you doing, buddy? We'll look to short into that strength. Barun, you have anything you want me to go over for you? Or? Hey, Richard, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. You're a junkie like me, on in the morning and at night as well. Good for you. We got to stick together. I'll take any symbols you guys want me to go over. I'm more than happy to do it. I want to check out NUGT after hours. It's good that we held 32. It's bad that we didn't hold 32.50. So, disappointing day. I mean, early on in the day, I thought that you got it, Bruin. Netflix, okay? You got it, Richard. Um, Earlier in the day, I was I sent a text over to one of our members, and it looked like we were getting ready for liftoff. I mean, the price action was just outstanding. We were up on the day, and as a matter of fact, we were contemplating, or he was contemplating selling uh, some covered calls, or asked me if I was going to sell more covered calls, and I said no, because I think that we may have liftoff here, and I don't want to cap my upside too much here because the goal, when you're trading covered calls, you have to know going into them what's your goal. Um, is it just to generate a little bit more income? That's my thing. I want to make sure that I leave a little bit of room between my strike price and where we're trading at current, so that I can allow those options to expire worthless. My goal is not to generate a lot of cash flow, because that small amount of income, I could be giving up a lot of upside potential. But if your goal is to generate cash flow, you bought covered calls or you sold covered calls, Bruin? It's all right. What strike price and what expiration? Okay, Richard. What was your strike, Bruin? All right, so you sold. Okay, you're good. What's your strike and expiration on those call options? Friday for 20 cents. All right, so depending upon what time of the day, so that's fine. You're right. So what dollar's strike price? The strike price is whether it's probably it goes in 50-cent increments. The 35s. You're fine. You're gonna be fine. Those have to be for next week, right? Not today. Oh, unless you sold them early in the day. Because I have the 35s, and they're worthless now for the most part. All right, so what do I think is going to happen with NUGT? I think that what we're in right now is we're in a meat grinder. We're gold, the miners, they're climbing a wall of worry. Nobody believes that gold is going up. Nobody believes that the miners are going up. There's only one problem. They're going up. It's not a... That makes sense. Okay, Barun. You're fine, buddy. Those will probably expire worthless. I have the 35s myself. Those should expire worthless. The markets are climbing a wall of worry. So that's a good thing. People aren't believing in it. That gives us an opportunity to build our position, add when appropriate. Hey, Norris. Bob, I never bought or sold calls or puts, but generally just buy more nugget for a day trade. Use calls and puts, but why not just buy or short the stock? Well, so it's a great question. So when I sell a covered call or a naked put, what that is I am not paying for the contracts. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm selling the right for another party to call those shares away from me at a specific price for a premium, right? So if I sell a put, it's not a bet that the option or the stock, or in this case NUGT, is going to go down. It's actually a bullish play. I'm betting that it's not going to go down. And if it does go down and I have those shares assigned to me, that's okay, because I'm happy with getting those shares at that price. So the reason why I don't short NUGT, I own NUGT, I own it outright, I own a lot of it. The reason why I don't short it is because I'm bullish on it, and that would be an inverse play. I buy dust when I want to put a hedge on when I think NUGT is in trouble. So think of it this way: when you sell a put or you sell a call, you're the banker, right? You're taking in a fee. You're collecting premium for somebody else to have a limited right to exercise your shares away from you. And that person has a complete disadvantage, and that's called theta. Theta is time decay. And time decay is my friend. It's one of the few times in life where time is your friend. And as time goes by and that time decay deteriorates, good for me as the call or put seller, bad for the call or put buyer, if that makes sense. Now, hopefully I answered your question. I know it's a little bit long-winded. So back to NUGT. I still like it, but we have a lot of congestion in here. A lot of overhead supply, and we also saw, let's not forget, a reversal on the day today on the markets. Yeah, so adding on the dust trade is just your hedge against Nugget. And I do that often as well, Norris. So, again, the options aspect is just to generate cash flow. Or if I think that Nugget has gotten a little bit ahead of itself, but I like it at a lower price, like last week, I sold the $29.50 strike price. if they weren't assigned to me, but I did collect that premium, and those contracts expired worthless. I'm worried, Bob, that we may lose all of our gains. Yeah, you should always have a stop loss in mind. I'm not gonna set a mental stop. I mean, a stop loss in the system. Had I done so here on a daily chart, wrong chart. Had I done so here, I would have gotten taken out of the shares. So we're far from losing all of our gains on NUGT. Now, if I begin to see on a weekly basis, we begin to break to new weekly lows, or if we break last week's lows, then I get nervous. Then I start lightening up dramatically. But until that time, the trend is still up, and it's an early stage trend, right? It's very, very young. So it's really not established. It's certainly not respected or appreciated. Could be the GDX, could be gold. It's just not respected yet. So right now, while yes, today was one day, it was an ugly day, don't forget that this time last week, remember how we closed out last Friday? Let's go to that chart. Because I'll tell you, it bothered me over the weekend how we closed out, and especially it was a 3-day weekend, no less. We were higher on the day, then we closed lower. We broke down below support. That was last Friday. I was more nervous last Friday about Tuesday's open than I am right now after today's close. Why? It's because we're holding the support level. We haven't broken that support level. If we begin to break support levels, then I get nervous. So while I'm not saying, I don't want to come off cavalierly that today's price action didn't concern me, it did. But I understand it. I understand the why behind it did what it did. And it did so because all you need to do is take a look at, let's go with a 5-minute chart. And let's overlay, let's go with the S&P 500. We'll put it behind the price. So here's this morning's sell-off, right? And the S&P 500 in blue. Then here is the rally, an inverse trading relationship. It's supposed to be. Then we had a W formation form on the S&P 500. It began to inch up. Then as we broke out, or began to break out, you saw NUGT break down, then began to put in lower highs. What was the S&P 500 doing? It was breaking out to new higher highs. So I can understand why NUGT did pull back today. I get it. Does that mean I go selling my position? No, not yet. I have to reevaluate whether or not I would sell nearer the money covered calls as I was thinking about earlier this morning going into next week. I'll probably do that. So I do change my strategy a bit, but we're still going to remain long here. What about ours is in the mid-20s, so you're fine. You have plenty to go here. You have plenty of room here. If you get worried, just raise your stops. Raise your stops. Here, looking at a daily chart right now, all you need to do, if you wanted to know if you wanted a strategy of where to stop out, this is what I would be looking at. Here's today's price action. We'll use a fresh chart. You see a break below the support level, and you can use that as a stop loss point of at least a portion of your position if you're worried, and that's fine. You should be worried. So I'm hoping that we don't break that support level, but we'll be open-minded if we do. I probably won't stop out. I'll just probably sell covered calls because this is a longer-term core position for us. I think that longer term, we're going higher. I don't want to trade in and out of this. I don't want to have to pay taxes. I just don't want to do it. So the longer I can prolong having to book a capital gain, I'm going to do that because longer term, this is as far as we've come. Look at this base that we're building here. Inverted head and shoulders setup, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. I mean, we're in the nascent stages of a major bull run. And once we break above 44.86, we're going a lot higher, a lot higher. So I'm going to be patient here. We have a breakout on a monthly basis. We're doing a retest. We need to get away from the daily charts. If your goal is cash flow, and you said that earlier, and that's fine, Bruno. But you need to do what's best for you, right? So if your goal is wealth creation by the appreciation of the share price, then you want to take a look at your higher level view, your monthly view. Let's step back away from the daily chart. That's for traders, or if you're looking to add more to your position, or if you're looking to sell covered calls, or if you're looking to sell your position. That's your timing mechanism. If you're a long-term swing trader or a position trader, I'm looking at the monthly charts. I'm looking at the weekly charts. Those are going to give me the higher level view, the macro view. And those will define whether or not I stop out or whether or not I add. Right now, I'm in an accumulation mode. Okay. So if that's your strategy, that's great. But earlier you said that you were in the cash flow. You wanted the cash flow. So when somebody's looking for cash flow, normally what they're doing is they're in a position because it has a fat premium, like most of the leveraged ETFs do that are optionable, and they're selling at the money or near the money, or 30 delta, which is the 30 delta is like 30% probability of being called out of your trade. It's very popular. Those types of traders are just selling options just to generate cash flow, generate premium. I'm doing it because I have a good probability of not being called out. I have a good probability of rolling out of the position and up to avoid the shares being taken away from me, to avoid capital gains. So that's my strategy. So everybody's got their own thing going on. So just if you have a question about what my mindset is, this is the reason why we had these conversations. I'm really happy that you brought it up. So if you have any questions, please let me know. In and out doesn't bother me for tax purposes since I use myself. Good man. All right, so yeah, I spoke to my accountant about a SEP. I can do it, but I have to pay Social Security on. And let me know if you're doing this or if you have to do this. Social Security on income. Do you know that to be a fact? Because I would love to do that. I would love to do that. But I can't do that right now. Meaning I could trade it. I just don't put a whole bunch of money into the SEP. I have one, but I don't put a lot of money into it. Okay. Who wanted? Oh, we had Richard that wanted the SPY, I believe. Let me go back. Spy and Netflix. Okay, let's go to Netflix first. You know, since I have a group here, I wanted to get an opinion. I was thinking about no longer doing the Thursday night stock chart live, and perhaps not even Sunday night futures live, and just going with the members in the circle session. And I wanted to get any feedback or thoughts from anybody on that. I'd really appreciate it, because I'm probably going to be changing things up a little bit. But I like this forum with members. So if you have a comment, if you let me know, I'd really appreciate it. All right, Netflix. This is a 2-hour chart. All right, so Netflix, what a day. We were bearish on it this morning. We even set a tripwire of when we would look to get short of Netflix. We did tap that tripwire. However, we had this set on a 4-hour basis, and on a 4-hour basis, it did not close down below the tripwire. And that tripwire represents a line in the sand, because if we broke it, we'd be coming down here to this lower band of support. So that would be a short. But what it did today was the obvious. A beautiful reversal day. Textbook. So would I buy it? No, not yet. I would buy it here on a close above 355 spot 69. And I have an alert set there already. Let's add some overlays here. And if we break out above that level, we're coming up here to 382 per share. So Netflix looks good. Assuming that the market holds up. That's the caveat. Nice trading channel. But I'd be waiting for a breakout above this mark. And again, that's at 355 spot 64. So I like it, Richard. I was bearish this morning, bullish now. Let's go to the spiders. Weekly view first. All right, so the weekly chart still looks healthy. Obviously, no overhead supply. The monthly view. Pretty extended. But on a daily view, we had a bullish reversal day. Norris just asked the question, is the pullback in energy good for the metals? All right, so there's two ways of answering that question. And on any given day, either one will work. So the Federal Reserve says they don't look at food and energy. Of course they look at food and energy. But they'll talk about it only when it suits their needs. So the market can interpret that the absence of rising energy prices will allow the Federal Reserve more room to keep accommodative and not to have to raise rates. So the fact that they don't have to raise rates means that they continue to print money, we go more into debt, and that sets the perfect stage for gold to rally higher. But it could also be interpreted as being deflationary. And deflation is not necessarily good for the metals. So today, the interpretation by the market was that we are in a deflationary mode. And stocks rally because the Federal Reserve is on hold. They're not under pressure because it's perceived that there is no inflation, which we know there is. It may be coming out of energy a bit, but that's not going to last long. So right now, yes, it's probably acting a little bit bearish for the metals, bullish for stocks. It's probably one of the reasons why I saw a rebound today, because the Federal Reserve is under less pressure to act and they could sit on their hands for a lot longer. So I hope that makes sense. Oh no, you're retired, so your tax level is low. Got you. All right, I'm just reading some comments here. I think you should do the Sunday night. There are good comments from the people who join in, potential new members. Okay, thank you for that. BA, my stocks are EGI, TCM, Bitcoin. Sorry, so many. I'll take a look at them for you, pal. It's your time. Manoj, hey, buddy. NVAX, you got it. Okay, I got to get to work here. A lot of symbols. Let's do it. Let's do this. All right, we'll finish off here with the SPY, then we'll go to the other symbols. So we had a bullish reversal day. Did we close at the highs of the day? No, we did not. But it's a bullish reversal day. A good day. Let's segue over to all right, so here's the daily chart. We rallied today on very good volume. So it appears as though we will probably move higher tomorrow. I got to bring up the spiders because this doesn't do intraday with the index. Let's go with a hourly chart to see how we might open tomorrow. All right, so you can see here, we didn't close at the highs of the day. Good volume into the close. So what we're looking at into the open tomorrow is this. We had a breakout. We need to see whether or not we pull back, retest, and whether or not that retest is successful. Do we hold the support level or do we break it? If we hold it, we'll probably continue higher. I'll have to cover my shorts. No big deal. We weren't that bearish to begin with. So it looks as though it's going to open up fairly good tomorrow morning. We haven't broken out to new higher highs. Again, the test is always at the top. So the probabilities favor longs going into tomorrow. Now, taking a look at Barun symbols. SBGL. Oh, you risky devil, you. You're playing individual names. What is this, Canadian? All right. So, I gotta be honest, this is the value of TrendSpider. So looking at this chart, we've come a long way here. I mean, it's had a beautiful run. But we are seeing profit taking into resistance. This is a monthly chart. And there it is. And we're backing off of it. Now, what I'm looking for now is a support level. And I think the low of the month is a fairly good support level. We'll just keep it right below that mark. And that is at 9.46. Weekly view. Let's overlay the monthly here. There's that upper band of resistance again on a weekly chart, though. Monthly resistance on a weekly chart. Excuse me. And we have an inside week. What will probably happen here is that we get, if we close at where at right now, I would say we trade sideways. If we close near the lows of the week, we'll probably pull back down to the support level. You want to see that hold. If we rally to close near the highs of the week, we'll flirt with a breakout going into next week or the week thereafter. So I think that we've come a long way. We've hit the first real significant resistance level since here, back in September. And keep in mind what that price action looked like back then. We were down, we rallied to close up. Same thing could happen this week. One trading day left to go, that's all you need. So would I go adding more here? No. If you're looking to raise stops, I would raise a stop right below this mark here at around $9.35 thereabouts, just below this mark. Let's go to a daily chart. We broke support today. We do have support right below. We'll probably dance around within this trading channel for a while. Especially with the US dollar continuing to gain steam. That's not as significant right now, I don't think, as the fact that the markets, which were weak, and we got a glimpse of the future today. When this market does eventually go, you're going to see gold stocks and gold rip. Because the market was selling off today, what was doing well? Gold and the gold stocks. But the market bounced back. Gold and the miners took it on the chin. Gold, though, still closed up. So I think that we're probably going to be entering a trading range here for SBGL. I think it looks good longer term. It hasn't broken trend yet. So I remain along with it. I just wouldn't buy more yet. I would wait and see. Just let it consolidate. I don't know if you can sell covered calls on this, but you may want to consider that. If they do sell covered calls, this is probably thinly traded. They probably only sell dollar increments, maybe 12s around there, 12.50s, if they do have them. What else do we? Let's do a 2-hour chart really quick. They sell options on them. They're optionable. Even if you wanted to sell the strike right here, if they have 11s, if they probably won't have weeklies on here. That's what I don't like. I wouldn't want to have to go out 30 days so close to the money. So I wouldn't sell the 11 strike. I would probably try to go out to the 12.50s if I had to wait 30 days and take that route. I wouldn't sell 11s or 10s. Too close to the money. I don't want to wait 30 days for my money. That's why I do the weeklies. Okay. If they do weeklies, South Africa, okay. If they do weeklies, I would be interested in them. Monthlies, not too much. I don't want to wait 30 days. Okay. Moving on. What else do we have? 12.50s. So take a look at the 12.50s. If they can go out 30 days and you get, I don't know what the premiums are, 50 cents, $1. That's good. That's good. At least you're getting paid to wait. TSM. Taiwan Semi. Very extended. The trend is still higher, but it's extended. The weekly chart. You can see the market's been sending signals here. Right here. Topping action, an attempted breakout, then reversal. I won't call this a confirmation breakdown because we haven't closed at the lows of the week yet. But I would watch for a break to a new weekly low. Me, if I got that, I'd be a profit taker. I'd be booking profits, stepping out of the trade if we broke down to a new weekly low. Because we're dealing with a monthly chart now, right? It's a little bit more high level than a daily chart. It's significant. It's far more significant. So the market's sending you a signal here. Lots of topping action, lots of profit taking. Going back to the monthly chart for a moment, very extended. The month prior, December, we were tapping the third standard deviation Bollinger Band. It looks a little bit exhausted here. Daily chart. We're in a trading range on a daily basis. So if it holds and consolidates here, I would be a holder of it. If we begin to break down, then I would probably jettison and look for new opportunities. Because I wouldn't be selling it based on a daily setup. The daily is only going to be my trigger. It's the weekly and monthly charts that are causing me to exit. So watch it for a breakdown to a new weekly low. And me personally, I would be out. You're welcome, Bruin. NIO. I think we went over this one time before. All right, so there's not much history here. All right. All right, so we got overextended. We pulled back. I wouldn't sell them. I wouldn't sell the shares. I wouldn't buy them. If we pulled back and retested the 4.37 mark, which is the support level here, that would be a good entry point with a stop loss right below. If we got a rally up and through $5.15 and we close there on a weekly basis, I would look to add more to my position or open a position because you're buying on a continuation move higher and the froth has been worked off. It shows here 4.39 to be specific. 4.39. The low of the week was 4.31. I would go with the low of the week, honestly. That would be far more definitive because somebody was defending it down here. If it doesn't hold that support level, that means they're gone. Yeah. I forgot to send you over the other one. Do you want the other ones as well, or are you good? Okay. NIL Bitcoin. All right, Bitcoin, surprisingly weak. You're welcome. Let's go to Bitcoin. All right, so I still like Bitcoin, just not right now. I should say, just not in the short term. We peaked here with a topping tail the week of the 13th at resistance, going back a long time. It was support back here. It was support back here. Support back here. Then it became resistance here. Then support again, over and over again. There's a lot of history here. So it's no shock that we're seeing some distribution at that level. It's going to take time to work it through. Now, it could take an event, a spike in inflation. We've proven that the CPI and Bitcoin are correlated. We've done that analysis. We've done that work. This This month we are now down, so we can't buy it yet. Can't buy more yet. Daily chart. We're at support at current. We really need to hold the 82.90 mark. Where are we at? Just above. Excuse me, just above it. Let's bring up Thinkorswim. Four-hour chart. It looks like they're trying to bid it back up right now. You don't know whether or not they're going to be successful. We would need to. I would be a buyer, or I would look to add more on a close above this upper band of resistance at around, let's call it 9,000. That's a nice round number. If you wanted to be risky, on a close above this tripwire here, the secondary downtrend line at around 87.60, but I would stay small because you're betting that unless you're going to scalp the spread between a breakout here and resistance here, that's fine. Scalp all day long. But just make sure you're using a no commission broker because Coinbase will rape you. I would be a buyer on a close above this level for my type of trading at around the 9,000 mark. So it's a hold right now. And Manoj, you have NVAX. What the heck is this? All right, I'm going to absorb this. All right, we got to go to a monthly chart. So it's interesting in that there's something going on here. But here's the problem here. Is that we rallied up and into resistance and we've backed off. There's a ton of sellers in here. What I'm looking for right now is the level of short interest. Oh, it's not even worth it. There's not much in terms of short interest here at all. A couple of days of short covering. So that's not the catalyst. No revenue growth. I mean, the earnings, there are no earnings. And there's a ton of debt. The beta is 1.92. Any reading on beta above 1 indicates that it's a volatile stock. This is an extremely volatile stock. I don't know the news flow on the stock. I don't want to pretend that I do. But just judging from the fundamentals, I'm looking for a catalyst, right? What's my catalyst to get long here? If the technicals were good. And I don't see them. I'm looking for good earnings, revenue growth, a short interest that is very attractive, at least 5 or 6 days or more of potential short covering. We don't have that. So with that in mind, and not knowing what this company does, I'm assuming that's a biotech of some sort. I'll assume that they have some drug in trial phases. What do I know, right? I'm a technician. So I don't know anything about it. So all I can do right now is work with the cards that have been dealt me. And I know that there are no fundamentals. I know that there's no short interest. Back to the charts now. So on a monthly basis, we had a very, very tight consolidation here. The time to have really been engaged with this, and you really had to be tracking it. I mean, could have been down here on a break. We don't have a retest yet. Nice consolidation. You know, this definitely would have caught my eyes. The first thing I saw when I pulled up the chart was this right here. Love that. Love that congestion. On a monthly basis, gotta love it. Great volume this month. We got to respect the fact there's been a lot of technical damage done here over the course of years. And it's not going to get healed in 1 day or 1 month or possibly even 1 year. Incredible volatility here. I'm thinking about a strategy here to try to take advantage of the volatility with as little risk as possible. And there are pivot points, and they're noted right here. Now, we could wait for a pullback and a retest of 6.31. Interesting price point to get long at. Can we pull back next month and do a retest of this breakout point? Volatility has shown us it can be possible. Is it likely? Probably not. But this pivot point here is interesting from a risk-reward perspective as a possible entry point. Let's go to a weekly chart. We gapped up higher this week. We're up and into the third standard deviation Bollinger Band. It's no secret how I feel about that. You have a gap that could be filled at 5 spot 86. That would be interesting. You got me working here tonight on this one. Because I appreciate the volatility here. This is the only reason why I'm sticking so long with this. It's got a history of these types of rips. And we could be in the nascent stages of another one. But the key is not to hope when you should fear, right? So you want to get in at a good price point and not to get excited about it. That's the key. Don't pay up. Because when you pay up, that's when you get punished. Daily chart. So I think my call on this is that you have a few entry points here to choose from that are fairly safe bets. One is right here at around, let's call it 580 per share. The other here, which represents the upper band, the prior upper band of the downtrend channel at around 560 per share. Or using this pivot point here, which after looking at TrendSpider is not my favorite point to add. I would rather wait for a pullback to one of these two support levels. So I would defer to the support levels on TrendSpider rather than the pivot points on stock charts. Now this is raindrop charting. This uses VWAP. There wasn't much selling at the end of the day today. But I think ultimately we're going to pull back here. And it's at these support levels where I would be looking to get long. Now, if it takes a while, and we spend a lot of time consolidating, and I'm completely wrong, here's your upper band of support. If it manages to hang around that long and we consolidate sideways into it, that would be a point where you could look to open up a long position or add to a position and then put a stop loss right below it. I'll send this over to you. You're very welcome, Manoj. Did that make sense? Hopefully. Exited with a good profit on the coronavirus scare. Is that a coronavirus play? Very interesting. Okay. Bruno, now you're doing straddle options? Love it. Love it. I'm doing a course on. Thanks for that information. That I didn't know. Thank you for that. We'll keep an eye on it. On covered call selling and put selling. It's going to be free to members. I'm going to put it in the members area. But I'm going to sell it as a standalone course for people that don't want to join up and they just want to buy a course. So I'm going to put that together. If you have any suggestions for me to include in the covered call, or put selling, or option selling, I would love to hear feedback. I from past times I've absorbed your feedback. So please provide that feedback, and I'll consider including it as a part of the course. But again, it's going to be free to members when I do release it. I'm trying to target Q2 of this year releasing it, but we're in the early stages of putting together the framework, and then I have to prepare all the materials, and then record it, and then edit it. And so it's a lot of work. So, all right. With that, thanks for joining, everyone, and everybody have a great night. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Be well.